Hey, yo. Welcome back to our weekly 5 card tarot spread. I am Mel Morris, and I want to start this video with a big, huge happy birthday to my oldest grandbaby, JJ. He is 13 this week on the 13th. And so, happy birthday, even though he doesn't watch these necessarily, but maybe his mama will share it. So, happy birthday, JJ. This week we also have Valentine's Day the next day. We've got the full moon coming up in Leo this week, right? So we've been building energy into big show up dramatically Leo. So you may find that you have a lot of energy building this week. What else? We're going to be moving out of Aquarius the very end of this week, I think on Saturday. So we're going to be transitioning from, Aquarius energy, air energy over into Pisces energy. So very watery, dreamy energy. So we'll talk about that more next week. I also wanted to remind you, thank you all for those who have been listening to all the things with the magical cartographers podcast. Don't forget to join us live this Tuesday, the 15th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, where we will be doing our kind of after the podcast live event. So it's been fun to do. So you can join us online, live, Facebook, YouTube. Just find me or find the magical cartographers and you will see us. So all right, enough of me talking about that. Let's talk about us and what we have going on this week. So I'll get this one last little shuffle. And we will start with our spiritual connection card. And here we have the Nine of Pentacles. Next, for our health and happiness, we have the Five of Pentacles. For our love and relationships, we have the 10 of Swords. For our business and career, we've got the 2 of Swords. And I don't know why I feel like giving it a little extra. For our overall card, we have the Knight of Pentacles. So internally, it looks like we are going to be focused on stability, right? Finding stability, thinking about our stability, thinking about our homes, thinking about money that comes from that idea of stability and abundance. And then externally with other people, we're still kind of in our heads, right? Last week was almost all swords energy. So all of our thoughts looks like kind of is what's happening there. But, we've got the Knight of Pentacles balancing that all out. So let's get started with our internal earthy energy. And our spiritual connection card this week is the Nine of Pentacles. So this week when you are connecting within, it feels like you've been on a path. You've been working towards abundance. You've been working towards stability. This again is our kind of spiritual realm. And things have been going good. You've been starting to get maybe some messages that are more clear for you to understand, right? However you identify your connection to that which is bigger than you, whether it's spirit, the divine, the universe, God or goddess. It feels like you've started to uncover more connection, but there's still something that feels a little hidden to you. There's still something that it's like it's so close, and I want to be able to say I can hear it clearly, but there's something that I don't know, just feels disconnected to you, for you this week. Even though things feel otherwise pretty solid, pretty good, you may be feeling as though you're just not able to hear something. You're just not able to uncover something. And the message I just want to give you is that you need to look back. You need to look at this beautiful path you've been creating for yourself. You need to acknowledge the work that you've been putting in, right, towards connecting. And, just sit and be silent a bit, right? Just allow this grounded energy. Pentacles is our earthy energy. Maybe sit and just be still. Maybe meditate, maybe journal, but just allow yourself some time to appreciate what you've been doing, what you've been working on, and ask the question, what am I missing? What am I not able to see right now? And then be quiet and listen for the answer, because it's there and you're doing great, right? Remember to appreciate that. All right, let's now take a look at our health and happiness position. And here we have the Five of Pentacles. So the Five of Pentacles feels, again, it feels like there has been something that you've gotten kind of close to. There's been a new path maybe that you've been kind of walking down, and you got to a spot where, maybe you thought you were coming home. Maybe you thought you were coming to something that felt really comfortable, and you were kind of denied that, right? You were denied the opportunity for shelter, if you will. I mean, the image is literal, but there's something that you have been building towards, right? Whether it's, I feel like it has to do with home, even though this is our specifically health and happiness, but there's something you've been working on to help you feel more comfortable in your life, to bring you some more happiness and some more joy. And the tides turned a little bit, right? Fives are that in between, that change. And again, change can feel uncomfortable. It feels like you got to a spot, things were cruising along easy, naturally, and you hit this little roadblock, and now it's just kind of totally thrown you off your game. I'm going to remind you that this isn't the beginning of the path. This isn't the end of the path. This is a detour, right? There's always going to be things that come up that don't go as planned, that you couldn't have foreseen, that you didn't prepare yourself for, that don't feel great. And in the moment, yeah, it's going to feel yuck, right? Even maybe even scary, like, oh my gosh, have I been wasting my time walking this path or going down this road? But you're not alone. You may feel like you're in this position, you're in this place that you've hit this roadblock, and it feels scary and it feels like you're just kind of out in the cold, but you're not. Yeah, something has stopped you. Something came up that you didn't expect, but it's not the end of your journey, right? It's not the end of the road. It's just a detour. Let it happen. Wipe your tears, get over it so that you can keep moving, right? And use the people who are your resources, use them to really help you continue to move forward. Okay, so let's now move to the external energies and look at love and relationships. So here we've got the Ten of Swords. Tens are about wrapping things up that have come to an end, completely, closing the door, putting the bow on the box, putting it under the bed or away. Tens are about finishing everything out at the end of one particular journey, right? Swords energy is all in your head. It's all your thoughts, which tend to be a little dark sometimes, or worst case scenario. And so the Ten of Swords is there is a relationship that has ended its cycle, that has come to an end, that is so completely over that there is no coming back from it. You may still be wishing, hoping, questioning if it's over, if it's not over. Should I try to make things work? It's over. It's over. If there is a relationship, doesn't have to be an intimate partner, but definitely could be. If there's a relationship in your life that you have been noticing, thinking about, that it's, kind of faded or gone away or has ended, if you're questioning whether there's a point of return, there's not. It's over. Just let it go, right? You are wasting time thinking about this relationship that has run its course, right? It doesn't have to be a negative. Don't think of it in terms of, a burnt bridge necessarily, but just know it's done. It's done, done. It's well done. It's a crispy, dark steak. Okay, so let it go. All right, next we're going to move on to our business and career card. And here we have the Two of Swords. Now, I just think the person in this image is so beautiful. The Two of Swords is always about decisions. It is, again, swords, our thoughts, in our head, ideas. So it is about making decisions, but it's also about finding a balance between two things that could be the right path, right? Which makes it a little bit harder. So I feel like within your business or at work, maybe you've been thinking about a new way to do something, to start a project, to move forward in a project, to, two choices that you have, and it almost feels like you've been maybe unintentionally giving too much weight to one and not enough weight to the other. And, sometimes you're trying to make the decision before you really have had time to think about it. So there definitely is a choice that you need to make. There is a decision that is coming up that you have to move forward one way or another. It feels like you haven't been considering one of them as seriously as the other, and you need to really do that, because it feels like down the road, right, in hindsight, you're going to look back and say, wow, maybe I hadn't thought that through enough. Maybe I hadn't really looked at that other idea carefully enough. And either way, you have to make a decision to move forward. But as I will always remind you, that choices get to be made again and again and again. So, don't feel like if you don't choose one over the other, that that's the end, that it's over, that there's no going back. No, just before you get to that point, before you make your final decision, make sure that you are just, again, kind of balancing out what the two options are. I also get the sense of that one of these options is going to be better suited specifically to you than the other. So, if you're at a job, let's say, and someone's really pushing you towards one path, maybe it's for growth, maybe, whatever, but there's this other path that feels really good and authentic to you. Don't discount that one because everyone else thinks you should take this path. That's kind of what it feels like, this Two of Swords this week. So heed your own advice this week in your business and career. All right, last but not least, for our overall card, we have the Knight of Pentacles. And, in our internal energies, we're pentacles, and trying to figure out how we can create more stability in our inner selves. And here, the Knight of Pentacles wants us to think about that in a broader sense. So, if we were to show up really largely, right? So, this Knight of Pentacles feels big, feels gregarious, right? They're showing up on this giant squirrel with this flag, right? So, the idea that they are showing up on a very grand scale and showing up both for themselves and for those around them, right? This is our overall card, indicates to me that that's really what you need to start doing, right? Both internally when you're thinking about, the 9 and 5 of Pentacles and this path that you feel some confusion around, and then externally where, things are ending and you have these ideas and these choices. The hope, the action you can take for both of those are to show up really big, right? Show up really authentically, show up in a way that feels super comfortable and authentic, but still big and bold, right? Again, this week we have the full moon in Leo. It doesn't get bigger than that. It doesn't get bolder than that. And that's really the energy overall for this week is how can I show up as me, as big as life, right? Now, for some of you, you're probably thinking, I don't want to show up big any place. That's just not who I am. It needs to be big for you, right? So it may not look like what someone else's big grand presentation is, but for you, it needs to be bigger. You need to push yourself outside the box a little bit and show up in a much bigger way, right? Really encourage yourself to do it a little bit differently, right? And if you've been following everything else going on with WTF with Mel this week, you know that, or excuse me, this month, you know that this is, do shit differently month. And so every day we've been trying new things, right? To just get out of that comfort zone a little bit so we can start to see what it feels like to really show up in a big way, in a different way, right? Even if we take baby steps to get there. So, yeah, so this is really the epitome of full moon in Leo. It is about showing up really big so that you can figure out what you need to let go of. But it starts with go big or go home, right? So I hope this was helpful. I hope that you have a spectacular week, and let me know how things go and stay magical, y'all.